Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First, let's talk about what we're calling it, the GOP implosion. We're talking about former President Donald Trump. We're talking about Representative Matt Gaetz. We're talking about Kevin McCarthy and how the GOP seems to be falling in on itself. We'll have this discussion and the impact that it has on us in Black America. We're also going to be checking in and talking to Mr. Roxe KARVELL, who is a filmmaker and an artist, who's going to talk to us about where we are in our art, the state of Black arts and the Black music here in the country. And we're going to have that discussion as well. So we got a lot to talk about. Make sure y'all join us in the conversation as we're streaming live on YouTube and the Roland Martin. Go there and you can be a part of our culture crew for the day. But of course, stay with us. There's a lot to discuss here on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Man, oh man, we are streaming live on a number of platforms. Make sure you check us out first on our home platform of blackstarnetwork.com, where you can download the app for free. You can follow us on social media, but that is the place where you get all of the latest news and information, the dope programming that we offer here at Black Star Network. And of course, we are doing live streams. Anytime any new information, any new events that are happening in and around America, we do our part to make sure that we stream those things to you live. So we are streaming a number of things, from everything from this show, as well as what's going on with this vote around Kevin McCarthy possibly being ousted as a result of some political organizing by Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. So we're going to go a little bit more into that situation in a moment. But we're streaming on Black Star Network. We're also streaming on Amazon News on your Fire TV, on Plex TV. You can find us there as well. We're also on Amazon Prime Video, and you can definitely check us out there on Prime. Find us on the Prime Video app under Live TV, and then go to News, or you can find us on Amazon.com. Under Prime Video, go to Live TV, then News. So we're there, as well as on Freevee. We're officially on Freevee now, so you can find us now under On Now, then go to News, and boom, you find us on Freevee as well. So we're on a number of different platforms, but especially social media. Facebook, we're streaming live under Roland Martin, and on YouTube under Roland Martin as well. Let's just do a quick check-in as folks are checking in from around the country. Big shout out to my online culture crew that are always on, that is always a part of these conversations, folks. And I invite you to join us in the culture crew. If you have not had a chance to jump into the chat for the culture crew, make sure you do your due diligence. Wonderful group of people, always got something to say. They stay informed. They got insight like no other. I got the best damn video supporters online, folks. I'm telling you, bar none. Nobody can beat the culture crew. There you go, it's right there. All right, let's talk about politics, because look, this is my big culture convo for the day, folks. This GOP implosion that we're seeing. I'm looking at two fronts here, folks. Looking at two fronts here, and I want y'all to check this out. I'm looking at what's the situation around former President Donald Trump, day 2 of his civil fraud case that is happening in New York City right now, right? So that's day 2 of that. And I'm looking at this situation that is unfolding in Washington, D.C., where Representative Matt Gaetz, Republican representative out of the state of Florida, how he is moving forward to dethrone his own party member, Mr. Kevin McCarthy, Representative Kevin McCarthy, who's currently the Speaker of the House. But they're looking, Matt Gaetz and some of his allies, and Matt Gaetz is a Trump ally, folks. He is all in for Trump. How they're trying to take Kevin McCarthy down as Speaker of the House because they don't believe he is good for the party And in their minds, if you're not good for the party, you're not good for America, folks. Kevin McCarthy has been playing an instrumental role in a number of conversations with the president and other members of Congress around everything from the Ukraine funding. There's a lot of controversy about "quote unquote" a secret deal that was determined by Kevin McCarthy and President Biden to get Ukraine more funding. His Republican colleagues don't like that. Then there is this stopgap bill to make sure that the government stays open. And they were able to find some consensus of creating something to keep the government operable, at least for the next 47 days until November or so. And guess what? His Republican colleagues didn't like that. Some of them, the more conservative ones, or the group that's now been labeled MAGA Republicans, they don't like that as well. So we're seeing a situation here, folks, playing out in a very, very public, ugly, and I have to say it, folks, I have to say it. This is a situation that's playing out in such a way, it's going to force us to have some very, very, I think, important nuance and uncertain conversations about the state of democracy right now in this country. Now, let me just go back to this. All of this didn't get into motion unless there was one man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Unless there was one man. Donald J. Trump, folks. Since this man was able to get into office, since he was able to wield the type of power and influence that he has gotten from voters, from constituents, and then that translated him to having more political power than any person in the Republican Party, Donald Trump. And now we're at a point that he is starting to see some consequences of his actions. And this is just on the civil fraud cases related to his business. It's not even "quote unquote" the people's business, but it is the people's business, because if he's going to this length to defraud investors, to defraud bankers, to defraud stakeholders, if he's going to that length, what do you think he would do if he were to have more power, more access to the currency, to the money here in the United States? I mean, what do you think could possibly happen? If you're working like this on your side of business for your interest, then what do you think would happen if you were to get into office? I want y'all to just talk to me, because we're going to have a conversation really quickly. And crew, I want y'all to check in. Let me know what's the word on you, what your thoughts are as we talk about this GOP implosion. Because Trump is being tried for that. Now, his ideology, what he symbolizes, all that he brings to the table, that is being carried out by Matt Gaetz and a few others who think that he is going to be that guy. So we're seeing it. We are seeing it. I got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, folks, we're going to talk about this, and I want to get your take on this, crew. As we talk about this GOP implosion, what are you seeing happening? And in the midst of all of this that's happening, Lise, let's put that title back up. There's one little piece that I wanted to add to that conversation. We could talk about Trump, we could talk about Gaetz, we could talk about McCarthy. But can we talk about, there are two things, it's a double entendre here, folks. I'm talking about the United States, US, and then I'm talking about us as Black Americans. Where do we fit into all of this? What are we seeing right now? Okay. So we have to have some serious conversations, because democracy is being tested once again. Justice is being tested once again. And the truth is being tested once again. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, more conversation about the GOP implosion. We'll talk a little bit about all of these things, and I would love to get your take. So join me. Post your comments on our YouTube chat under Roland Martin, and stay with us. We're just getting started here on The Culture, here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20036-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We're talking for our big culture convo for the day. I got to talk about what's happening within the GOP party, the Republican Party, folks. And there's a lot of discussion as to how this situation with the GOP is going to spill over into the Democratic Party, into how the American people sees politics. This is interesting. We're calling it the GOP implosion. And I don't know if any one of you see it that way, but it's definitely there. We're seeing something, folks, where a house is falling unto itself. Is that the right way to put it? Can we say that? That you have this party who was once considered to be the party of quote unquote decency, family values, law and order, all of those things, all of those well-sounding, well-meaning ideas and principles. Now it has become the party of everyone from criminals to grifters to the party of hypocrites, the party of denial, the party of liars, has manifested into now has said that The Republican Party, who were once considered to be conservative in some cases, are becoming the most extreme, the most extreme demographics in politics. I'm with you, McCole. And I'm a big shout out to all the culture crew. McCole, you checked in and said, what in the world is going on in Congress? Where you have representatives, people within the same party going at each other's neck. Now, that's a different talk. I want y'all to just hold on to that. Let's deal with the first thing. Because again, this wouldn't have started, we wouldn't have seen this. There are a couple of things that I've seen, folks. But I think the one man that is at the central point of this is Donald Trump. And I think we should all be clear about that. Mr. King of Chaos himself. And I think that it's important that we keep that in mind, because Mr. Trump is also the one who was under scrutiny and is maybe starting to see some consequences for his years of the criminal action that he's been involved in. Yesterday, the hearing started for his civil fraud case. In that case, of course, it was determined by the judge that that in fact, he has been found guilty of defrauding bankers, investors, and other stakeholders that have put money into his business. He has been found guilty of exaggerating the value of his businesses and the revenue. Fraud. He's been lying on paper. I want to share with you what Mr. Trump had to say. Some of his comments around this situation, as this is the first of many trials that we can expect for Donald J. Trump. But this one is his comments about the civil fraud case. Take a listen.
Witch hunt of all time. We have a rogue judge who rules that properties are worth a tiny fraction, 1/100th, a tiny fraction of what they actually are. We have a racist attorney general who's a horror show, who ran on the basis that she was going to get Trump before she even knew anything about me. She used this to run for governor. She failed in her attempt to run for governor. She had virtually no polling. She came back and she said, well, now I'll go back to get Trump again. And this is what we have. It's a scam. It's a sham. Just so you know, my financial statements are phenomenal. They are actually less in terms of the numbers used than the actual net worth. The actual net worth is substantially more. No bank was affected. No bank was hurt. They don't even know why they have to be involved. And they've so testified. They can't believe that they're involved because they were paid back on time. There were no defaults. There were no problems. And it was like a perfect client. In the meantime, people are being murdered all over the sidewalks of New York. There was no victim here. The banks were represented by the best, biggest, most prestigious law firms in the state of New York, actually in the country. Some of the biggest and best law firms, in all cases, the biggest and best law firms. That's who represented them. The banks got back their money. Again, there was never a default. There was never a problem. Everything was perfect. There was no crime. The crime is against me because we have a corrupt district attorney, but we have a corrupt attorney general. And it all comes down from the DOJ. They're totally coordinated this in Washington because I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading Biden by 10 points. And I'm leading the Republicans by 50 and 60 points. That's pretty much, they say, over. I never accept that, but they say it's over. This has to do with election interference, plain and simple. They're trying to damage me so that I don't do as well as I'm doing in the election. Our country's gone to hell. We have a country that's in decline, serious decline. We have a man running our country who has no clue, doesn't know what he's doing, and you know it better than anybody because you have to cover him. What they've done with open borders, what they've done with interest rates and taxes, it's a disgrace. So what we have here is an attempt to hurt me in an election. It's an attempt to hurt me in an election. This never happened before, where President of the United States leaves office and gets indicted. And the reason I got indicted was that I ran. If I didn't run, I'd be sitting right now at a beach like Biden does every time, even though he's supposed to be working. So very simply put, it's a witch hunt. It's a disgrace. We have a corrupt attorney general in this state. You see how she does? This trial was railroaded and fast-tracked. This trial could have been brought years ago, but they waited till I was right in the middle of my campaign. The same with other trials and indictments. It's all run by DOJ, which is corrupt in Washington. Everything goes through them. They're all corrupt people. Frankly, our country is corrupt. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. We're going to straighten it out. They have one property that's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times what this judge put down as a value. Put down a value $18 million, and the property's probably worth, could be anywhere from 50 to 100 times more than that. And a lot of those numbers could even be low. We have other properties, the same thing, so he devalued everything. I didn't even put in my best asset, which is the brand, in terms of value. Coca-Cola, take a look at their value. They have a value. The value of their brand is more than everything else put together. My brand is extremely valuable. I didn't even use it in my financials. If I wanted to build up a financial statement, I would have built it up by using brand in it.
All right, crew. Corrupt system, corrupt people, racist district attorney, corrupt judge. All coming from a man that has 91 counts, folks. 91 counts. This is not something that somebody just say, oh, let me just throw these things against the wall. This is what he's accused of doing. Violating 90, with violations that led to 91 counts, folks. Now, the thing is, this is the thing, and y'all talk to me on this, crew. The thing is, because he says that the system is corrupt, it creates this space, especially for Black America. We already know the system is corrupt. We talk about it. We are the victims of it. So we know these systems are corrupt. But then at the same time, presenting himself as if he is not a beneficiary of the system, presenting himself as if he has not gained from the system, and how he has used the system to his advantage and convenience to get not just what he wants to put out in the agenda. I got to take another pause. When we come forward, I want to get your take on this as we talk about this. Stay with us, folks. We still got a lot to talk about in this first half of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness, and what happens in black culture. We're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. We've been talking about the GOP implosion. Are you keeping your eyes open on what's going on from Trump to with this situation in Washington, D.C. with Representative Matt Gaetz trying to dethrone or trying to revacate the seat that his own Republican colleague, Kevin McCarthy, has been sitting in as Speaker of the House, and Matt Gaetz is trying to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House because he just didn't like his ability to to work with Democrats around the stopgap bill. He doesn't like the leadership that Kevin McCarthy is because he doesn't feel like it's truly the Republican direction, the Republicans that America wants us to be, Republicans that he wants to be. Very interesting. But I'm bringing up these two situations of Trump's civil fraud case and the situation with Kevin McCarthy and Matt Gaetz. I'm putting it both up there, not going to, we can go into the weeds of it, but I want us to take a systems thinker's look at what's happening and really start to connect the dots, that there is a serious dysfunction in this country with this major party that will power, influence, money, resources, that has the ability to shape policy. So whatever happens in DC, it may trickle down to states where Black people are living in, Black people are educated in, Black people are hoping to find some peace and solace in. Your big states like Texas and Georgia and in other states in the southern parts of the country, states where they have high number of Black residents, high number of Black constituents. Are we looking at that? Just taking a step back and just asking ourselves, like, what is really going on? Because we got to ask this question. We got to keep this in mind. Like, all of this stuff is happening, and we can't operate as if it's not happening, or more importantly, we can't operate as if it doesn't affect us, because it will. It will. All right, let me go to what y'all have been saying, crew, and I appreciate y'all so much. Let me see this. I saw this one from you, Real Brooklyn. I love it. I'm going to kick it off with you, bro. You said government dysfunction is the new norm, folks. Sometimes you just have to lower your expectations in order to keep some form of sanity within your own mind. I'm going to drink some tea on this one, y'all. I'm going to drink this tea. When we get to that place, and I think, Real Brooklyn, you speaking something. You talking truth, man. When we get to that place where government dysfunction becomes the new norm, and that we have to lower our expectations to keep our minds in a space of sanity, ooh. Come on. Black folks in this country have been lowering expectations to keep our sense of sanity and humanity, right? Right, Real Brooklyn? We have been doing it, but now we got to go even lower. What does that do to the American citizen? When you have lost faith, or you are slowly losing faith, or you are losing faith fast in the system and the people that are supposed to keep you at the forefront of their work. Systems and people who are supposed to keep our interests at heart. Systems and people that are supposed to do right by us. And systems and people that have control in some way, shape, or form over how we live our lives. Let's go. Many of you checked in and talked about the statement that we just played of former President Donald Trump. He railing against the DA, railing against the judge. And I want us to keep Real Brooklyn started because I think that's a great starting place. Keep that thought in mind as we have this other part of the discussion. And I think it was you, let me double check. You don't like my music? You said, what other criminal could smear the judge and DA like that and get away with it? You called the DA a racist. You said she had political ambitions. Come on, Trump. Come on, sir. Political ambitions, you should know. You should know. Racism. Racism. The pot calling the kettle black. Racist, political ambitions. You call the judge corrupt. You don't like my music. You bring it up an excellent question. What other person can do this? See what I'm saying? We're seeing a breakdown here, folks. And I'm not saying this because we should be like, oh my gosh, we're seeing a breakdown. This is something to be laughing at, and that's crazy. No. This is very concerning. At least for me, it's very concerning. I hope it's concerning for you. Because all of these things, systems and people, have the power to shape our lives in some way, shape, or form. Frankie, you said, are you saying what happened to Trump will affect us? How? Well, imagine, listen to what he said. Now, he exaggerates. The man lies so much, man. I'm so sorry. He lies so much that it's really hard. And I mean, sometimes he says these lies. And let me just say this. Sometimes a liar can be so good at lying, they sound convincing when they say the lie. Y'all ever met a person like that, right? So sometimes when he throws out certain numbers, like even as a person that you got to fact check, you got to always fact check what Trump is talking about. So when he throws out a number, I'm 50, 60 points ahead of my colleagues running for office. It's like, I mean, you're ahead, but 50, 60 points. Come on, sir. Come on. My point is, Frankie, is that if you have an individual like this, and he's getting through the system, he is still able to maneuver the system. He's still able to raise money. He's still able to do what he wants to do, essentially, right? Without as little disruption as possible. You're saying, well, how does that affect us? Well, you imagine that he is a representative of a portion of the people in this country. And if a portion of the people in this country says, hey, look, this guy is not guilty. This guy is the best leader that that this country needs right now. You see what I'm going with this? And then let's take it over to the next level. Then you have an individual, and I know, and I want to say this, even though Trump is at the core of, or the center of this ideological, philosophical space, and this crisis moment that we see that's happening within the GOP, he's not the end all be all. The GOP was already falling. Y'all remember the Tea Party? Y'all remember that group of individuals who were trying to really change the direction of the country? The Tea Party, they had some buzz and momentum years ago, and the next thing you know, they produced a couple of candidates and everything. And I always thought, look at how the GOP has always tried to find new ways to integrate certain different faction of political thought, right? And then you had like people, they produce leaders, they produce representatives, they produce political leaders that felt that were aligned with Tea Party principles, right? Same thing here. Like all of these things is just added. What we're seeing with Trump is that it was like he exacerbated the situation. Now, is he the end all be all? Say if Trump does go to jail. At this point, it really doesn't matter because if you got a Matt Gaetz, if you have others who are allies of Trump, who are the water carriers of the ideology, now it becomes like a cancer. It's not about the person or the personality. It's about the ideas and the principles. There we go. Yes. So we're in that space now. And for us as Black America, we got to ask ourselves, like, how do we make sure that we are preparing ourselves for this place? How do we make sure for that? All right, let me get one more and then we got to take another break. McCole, you said, have some of our elected officials in the United States Congress forgotten that they work for their constituents? Their responsibility is to do the business of the people. No, they haven't forgotten. They just don't care. I'm convinced, folks, after a while, if somebody acts a certain way and keep doing certain things and showing you, like, as Maya, if they show you who they are, then, we will be crazy to hold ourselves to keep thinking like, no, we got to remind them of their role. No, they know what their role is. They know why, who put them. They know that they are supposed to represent the interests of the people and represent their constituents. They know that. At some point, can we just say that some of these individuals don't care? And now, if we put that in that space of they don't care, then we have to respond in kind to their uncaring ways while they profess to do the business of the people. All right, let me get one more in. Let me get one more in here before we take our next pause. Let me see. Cindy D, you said Donald Trump as a victim, white privilege heir, not victim. He's getting a taste of what we deal with every day. He's still not getting the full brunt of it, though, Cindy. Going back to what You Don't Like My Music said, can we be on trial for anything, a traffic ticket, and then come outside the courtroom and blast the judge? Can we do that? We would think twice. If it's a traffic violation, I'm not saying nothing. I'm going to the car. You're not saying anything, please. Please. We are in a very, very serious time. I got to take another pause. When we come back, let's get more comments from you crew. Stay with me. The conversation continues on the other side here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, you're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
beyond the privileged few who back us up against shutdown politics and Christmases and deadlines in order to achieve their objectives. Mr. Speaker, high inflation is on the verge of bankrupting American families. Our economy is breaking in half. A typical American family can't afford to buy a house in 99% of U.S. counties. Inflation is stealing more than $700 a month from working Americans, nearly $9,000 a year. Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will. I make no apologies for defending the right of every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families, and we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership. We have to rip off the Band-Aid. We have to get back on a better course. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this vote's going to go. Usually when a vote comes to this floor, it's pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so sure. But I am sure that we've made the right argument, that this place deserves single subject spending bills, that we should have 72 hours to read a bill, that something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it. And there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security, because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair, and let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back his time. All time for debate has expired. Without objection, the previous question is ordered on the resolution. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. No. The noes have it. The resolution is, gentleman from Florida.
I'd request the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 3 of Rule 20, the chair directs the clerk to conduct the vote by a call.
That was some of the final big speech given by Florida Representative Matt Gaetz, as he puts the argument forth that to vacate the chair of Kevin McCarthy. And Lisa and Chris, let's put that up there. I want to, if there was there any other final vote? We just want to make sure that the number, and let me know, and I'm just saying this to my team, let us know what's the final vote. Okay, they're voting now. So let me go to give you a couple of quick comments from our online culture crew. Folks joining us as we're streaming live on YouTube under Roland Martin. What you're seeing is happening right now as the House is voting on either they're going to vote to keep Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House, or they're going to remove him. Let's also mention the fact that Hakeem Jeffries is also Hakeem Jeffries is the minority Speaker of the House. And so there is a possibility, of course, we know the Democrats would be behind him being in the Speaker if the seat is vacated. And let me just throw some historical content out there as we're seeing this all happen and playing out. The last time the House voted on a motion to vacate the seat was 1910 against then Speaker Cannon, against Speaker Joseph Cannon, who was a Republican out of the state of Illinois. In 2015, then Representative Mark Meadows filed a motion against Speaker John Boehner, but it never made it to a floor vote. So Boehner resigned a month after that motion amid continued dissent in his party. But a House Speaker has never been removed via a motion to vacate. So if this does happen today, it would mean that history is being made in American politics. If it does happen today, then that means that we will see something different that this country has never seen before. The real Tasha Barry, you checked in and said the Democrats need to just vote here and watch the GOP effery. We can't just watch though, can we, Tasha? Can we just watch? Can we really watch this? I would like us to watch and then strategize, because this political system is falling apart. And we got to throw it out there for historical context for those who may not know. The speaker is third in line for presidency. So you have your president, the vice president, and then you have the Speaker of the House. So that's how powerful this role really is. Damon Blissett, my partner, my brother, my pastor, you checked in and said, dysfunction at its finest. Dysfunction at its finest. Angie Brown, you checked in and said, McCarthy needs to be out of there. It's been voted 3 times, but never happened. I'm in deep prayer over this. Corinna, you checked in and said, Corinna, my sister, culture crew member, contributor here on the show. She said, I hope the GOP give McCarthy the boot, and Democrats need to sit on the sidelines. Tiana, you checked in and said, we can't afford to just sit by and watch this clown show. Yeah. I want to see, and to my team, I want y'all to just let me know, keep us up to date if they come to something. I know we got to take another pause. Willie Frazier, you put it out there, he will never be the governor of Florida. No, sir. Did they forget the fact that this man had a sex trafficking charge, that he was involved in some sex trafficking? Anybody, nobody, I hope y'all didn't forget about that. I hope y'all didn't forget about that part. Conscious Thought, my brother, you checked in and said, remember people, the world is watching. Great point. I think sometimes we forget about that part, Conscious Thought. I think we truly forget about that. Remember we had crew, the brother who gifted us yesterday, Ronald, what was the brother's name? He bought the 5 gifts for our 5 crew members. Brother Ronald, he said he's from Canada. And he said he's always watching what's going on in America, and that Canada is often looking at American politics and how we do things. And he stands in solidarity. As of right now, it looks like, I mean, this is like an early vote, 14-19 against for now. That's what we're looking at. So this has major implications, folks. Major implications. History, party politics, this idea that if this is successful, a man like a Matt Gaetz, his political profile goes higher. He's able to gain some political capital. And to Big Brother Willie Frazier, that's going back to your point about, he may not run for governor, but his profile is going to be higher. He might be considered to be the inside man, the leader of the Republican Party that shifts the party for Trump. If this happens, one of the things about the Trump situation that I think is very fascinating is that Trump came in with this brashness, this arrogance that he was going to change up the party. But then over the years, like since he's been in office and since he's been out of office, he's been talking to people who have more credibility, who have that reputation of being credible, legitimacy. He's been getting support from more legitimate, credible places to move forward to do the things that he wants to do. And what I'm saying by that is that, like, you have a gentleman like a guy like Matt Gaetz, who puts himself out there as this young, up and coming, next generation conservative leader who's morally corrupt. And he puts himself out there as the new face of the party at a young age. Then, it plays on the dynamics of how people see the party. Benny, you my man, Benny Hill, you said this country makes history every day. It's just not the type of stuff we want to celebrate. Farajii, you remember Roy Moore in Alabama, business as usual. White boy always got a shot, right? Oh yeah, I remember that situation, Benny. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Deborah Anderson, you said if the government would have shut down, the both of them still would have received their paychecks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tiana, you said America is looking like the dude with the fake Gucci belt, and he swear it's real. 3128 for removal right now. My team is keeping me up to date. Big shout out to my team, Chris and Lisa, King Keenan. Thank y'all for keeping me up to date on this. I know we got to take another quick pause. We got a special guest. We're going to keep a look at this. We're going to take a look at this and keep our eyes on this. We're going to take another pause. I'm going to have a conversation with our very special guest. And by the end of the show, let's come back to this, because this is history in the making. We should have a better sense of where we are with the situation. And then, of course, get some final remarks from all of you as the crew. If history is being made today, if we find out that Kevin McCarthy has been voted out of the seat, I want to get your take. If you found out that he could stay in the seat, I still want to hear what you got to say. Stay with us, folks. We still got a lot more of the culture right here on the Black Star Network coming at you. We'll be right back.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks. Had to grab me a little bit more tea. Make sure the throat was good. Folks, welcome back to the show. Here's what we are looking at. We've been trying to keep our eyes on the situation around this situation in Washington, D.C. Representative Matt Gaetz leading the charge to remove and vacate the seat, removing Kevin McCarthy and vacating the seat of vacating the seat for the House Speaker. And so we are keeping our eyes on this vote. My team is keeping me up to date on this situation. So we will have to see. And like I said, and we're going to be back. We're going to check back in on things in a minute. Once we get more on this situation, but I want to go back to y'all. I want to check in with y'all, the crew, and get your take on this, because this is history in the making. If he's voted out, all of the dynamics of this, we've been talking about Trump, Gates, McCarthy, but again, I added us at the end because I wanted to make sure that during all of these bigger conversations about the state of democracy, the crisis of democracy that we've been having, how do we as Black folks, where do we fit? How do we gain in a situation that looks like it's going to be a loss for democracy? And you might be asking yourself, well, damn, that's kind of crazy. Like, you looking for a gain in a time where the state of our democracy, our government may be losing. Well, it's not that I'm looking for a gain, but guess what? Every time Black folks have taken a hit, and I'm saying us collectively as Black Americans, we've taken a hit. Somebody has gained from that. Somebody has gained from our suffering. And we got to ask ourselves, like, when we see these things happening, how do we make sure that we're not just sitting on the sidelines or waiting for somebody to give us directions on how to move? Essentially, it's like we have to start to really, really, really take our fate and put it into our own hands. We can't allow other people to dictate the agenda for us, folks. That's my point. We can't just wait. We can't just hope. We can't just be like, all right, everything is going to work itself out. When key elements of the system is showing us that things are not as strong as we thought they would be, that things are not as sustainable as we thought they would be. Janelle, you checked in, my sister. You said, I just want to know who would be crazy enough to replace McCarthy after he made such deals with the extremists. And if Hakeem Jeffries, and I was talking to my team member at least earlier today, and I was, we were talking about the show and everything. And as we were talking about Representative Jeffries, it's like, if he gets him to be the Speaker of the House, can y'all imagine this? I'm just saying, it's not that I don't want him to be the Speaker of the House. I would not. I'm not saying it. I'm just thinking about all angles of the situation, JL. That if he gets to be the Speaker of the House, the attacks. See, one of the things that I think that we would have to start thinking about in terms of not just for political participation, but we do have to start thinking about the politics of this country is becoming so extreme, and in some cases so violent, that if you put people of Black folks in positions of power and influence, that you really do have to think about their livelihood. That's how serious it is. Now, for a while, we were in a different, quote unquote, more civil space and in our political discourse, right? There was more civility there. But now that's starting to be peeled back like an onion. The political civility is slowly diminishing. And now we're getting back to old school power politics where people are literally will hurt you just for being in a position. Benny, you said, damn, Farajii, that part hurt. I think a sister got on the other day and voiced how discouraged and bothered she was by our perceptive incrementalism. Stagnant, it may appear. Yeah, I agree. This incrementalism is something that we all have to do. Like, if we're seeing this history being played out, we're seeing something like this major, if this major situation would happen, it really throws in that whole conversation about incrementalism out the door. It really throws it out the door. Because now this is drastic change. You know what I'm saying, Benny? This is such a drastic change, and it will require, like, this is changing American politics. This is changing American politics, folks. Big moment. All right, let's see what else we have to say on this. Willie, big brother Willie, you said, until we exercise our full power politically, economically, culturally, we will always be in reaction mode. Too many voices against our common humanity to hear we're all human. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all dropping jewels today, crew. I'm serious. Y'all dropping some jewels today. See what I'm saying? Like, see how the importance of the conversation is? Like, really thinking about this. And I'm loving how we're bringing all these ideas to the forefront. Like, thinking about all of the pros and cons of the moment is what I think is important for what Black America does. Like, it can't be reactionary. Like, we can't always be on the defense. Some moments we got to be on the offense. So it can't just be this reactionary thing, right? But it's got to be strategy. It's got to be what's the ultimate goal here, right? Everybody is carving up a part of this country for themselves in some way, shape, or form. And I'm talking about in terms of politics. Political ideology. People are holding on to their personal politics and carving a space for that, right? The breakdown of this, and that's what I was telling my team member Lise earlier today, like, we were talking about this, like, she was pointing out, like, look at the fracture that is occurring within the GOP right now as we are looking at this whole situation unfold. Just think about this. You have the moderate GOP, you have the extreme GOP, you have all of these different fractions. And then this is also happening on the Democratic side as well, right? And these parties are struggling to keep people under this one tent, like Republican and Democrat. Look at the fracture of political ideology that's starting to exist among the American people. Whether you're Black or white, Asian, Latino, liberal, conservative, right? Socialist in some cases, you got all these different things, like the fractures. It's mind-blowing. Cindy, you say too many cooks in the kitchen, Farajii. Too many cooks in the kitchen. But see, this is the thing. Does that mean if you got this many cooks in the kitchen, Cindy, do you rebuild the kitchen to make it bigger? Or do you work towards trying to cut down on the number of cooks? In Black America, we have to figure out and be prepared for both options, right? Can I put in that analogy? Do you think that makes sense, Cindy? Talk to me. We have to be prepared for both options. All right, we're still considering. Can we get some footage? I'll wait to my team, to Lisa and Chris. Can we get some footage of where we are, like, just to give people a sense? Let's bring up the sound for me, please. And let's hear a little bit what they have to say.
LaMalfa. Nay. Lamborn. Lamborn, nay. Landsman. Yay. Langworthy. Nay. Larson of Washington. Yay. Larson of Connecticut. Yay. Latta. Nay. LaTurner. Nay. Lawler. Nay. Lee of California. Yay. Lee of Florida. Nay. Lee of Nevada. Yay. Lee of Pennsylvania. Yay. Ledger Fernandez. Yay. Lesko. Nay. Letlow. Nay. Levin. Yay. Liu. Yay. Lofgren. Yay. Loudermilk. Nay. Lucas. Nay. Luetkemeyer. Nay. Luna. Luna. Luttrell. Nay. Lynch. Yay. Mace. Yay. Magaziner. Yay. Maliotakis. Nay. Man. Nay. Manning. Yay. Massey. Nay. Mass.
So I just wanted to we wanted to give y'all a peek of what this whole voting process looks like. That's for the yays and nays of whether they are going to either keep McCarthy in the seat or they're going to have him ousted and have the seat vacated. Let me go back to y'all, crew, because a few of you have been checking in, and Cindy, you kind of kicked it off when talking about your cooks in the kitchen reference, that analogy. So McCole, you checked in and said, not McCole, I'm sorry, McCole. You don't like my music. You checked in and said, we don't need leaders, we need representatives. Well, the representatives should be leaders in some way, shape, or form, right? Because we all have varying interests. They represent some people, but they can't represent everybody. Because guess what? The representatives, they cover a certain group of people in a certain area, and their desires, their interests, their needs are different from what your desires, your interests, and your needs may be. So representatives is correct, but we do need leaders. Who's going to give us the vision on what a better future will look like for all of us with our given and diverse desires, interests, and needs? Somebody has to, or a group of people rather, will have to kind of take us to this promised land. Cindy, you said, when my response is, do we make the kitchen bigger or do we cut down on the cooks? You said remodel a more diverse kitchen. The kitchen can't stay the same. It gets stale. It can't stay the same. It does get stale. But then there's a much deeper conversation. Y'all remember when we started to talk a little bit, this was happening maybe last week or sometime. But now folks are starting to have conversations like constitutional lawyers and social scientists and political scientists, rather. Political scientists are starting to look at it and say, well, maybe it's not just about the candidate. Maybe it's not just about the campaigns. Maybe it's not even just about this quote unquote experiment that we call democracy, that is actually might all stem from the Constitution. So if the Constitution, to keep on your point of view, to keep on that analogy, Cindy, serves as the framework, the foundation by which this house of America is built upon, then the framework, the foundation rather, the foundation may have cracks in it. And they're finding that the Constitution doesn't really speak to the growing, diverse population that the founders were confronted with when they created this document. Who would have thought that 200 plus years down the road, America would be in the place that it's in right now? where in terms of the number of people, the number of different groups of people that are here, the issues that we have, right? Social, political, racial, and all of these things. Who would have thought that it would have happened? So talking about remodeling that kitchen, you may have to remodel the Constitution. You may have to get back to that. Angie, you said cut down on those cooks. It makes so much more sense. It could. But if you cut down on the cooks, then somebody is not going to be heard, seen. Their presence is not going to be felt. So what do you do about that? Because now we're all in the space of, I'm not at the table. Even within Black America, look at the diversity of thought that exists in Black America. Just the 13% of us that makes up this country. Look at the diversity of thought that exists. We have a lot of diversity of thoughts. We're not a monolithic group. Everything I say, Black people aren't monolithic. Black people aren't monolithic. And guess what? That's true, but it also presents us a major challenge. Yes, we're Black America, but at the same time, we have a lot of different thoughts. Look, I got to take another quick pause. When we come back, more conversation. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture, weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Let me just say how much I am thoroughly enjoying all of the conversation that is happening within the chat right now from the Culture crew. As we have, we're all kind of set in place here, looking at this historic vote taken They're still in the process of counting the yays and nays on whether to oust current House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So this is real time, folks. This is happening right now. History is being made. Again, the implications, if McCarthy is voted out of office, this will be the very first time in American history that a House Speaker would be voted in this fashion in American politics. Big moment. So personally, I'm just grateful to be spending this time with you and to see so many of you having the type of conversation that we have. Like, this is why we do what we do every day. You know what I mean? To have these discussions amongst ourselves with each other. And I'm just feeling very happy because so many of you are posting so many wonderful ideas and just perspectives that you just don't get to hear. We don't get to hear this, right? Like, everything is always coming top down. Everything is always coming from one person to all of us, right? Versus us really talking about this thing, like really thinking through this, really experiencing historical moments where we're going to be like, you know what, this is really happening. What is my thoughts around this? Like, how many of us are really asked the question, what do you think? So I'm just grateful, y'all. Just expressing some gratitude to all of you that are part of this. Benny, my guy, Benny Hill, you posted this, continuing our analogy that Cindy kicking off with, talking about the cooks in the kitchen. Benny, you said it may look like everyone is cooking, but trust me, they are not. Most are just prepping and expediting meals and orders. There are many stations in between oven to plate. Kitchen atmosphere is diverse. Amen. There it is. I love that, Benny. But the only thing is that we don't always know who's doing the meal prep. If you worked in the kitchen, you know, you have the sous chef, you have all of these different roles that are in the kitchen. You have, of course, the chef, the person that's overseeing the operation of the kitchen. But if everybody's trying to be that person, that master chef, the one that's overseeing the operation, and nobody is just playing their roles, which is all essential, because the kitchen cannot work with if one part is missing or one person is not at their station. It has to work. There has to be a concert of effort in order to work. So I love that piece that you just brought up, Benny. And I think that's the part about this. That's the way government's supposed to work. Everybody plays a role. But when you got people who want to change the chef, the master chef, right? People who want to take on other people's jobs, it becomes a chaos. It becomes a madhouse in the kitchen. You start burning stuff. Stuff getting overcooked. Stuff starts to undercook. Y'all know where I'm going with this. All right. So I appreciate you, Benny. Thank you for posting that. Janelle, you said we need to walk with intelligence about how U.S. systems have historically worked and then learn how to best exploit them. As you respond to "You don't like my music," when he said we can't operate with arrogance and ignorance. Whew. Powerful thoughts. Got to walk with intelligence about how U.S. systems have historically worked and then learn how to best exploit them. You talking about war strategy there, Janelle. You talking about war strategy, how to maneuver through a system, right? Because we gotta ask ourselves as Black people in this country, are we going to continue to uphold the system, or are we going to do our part to reform the system? Which leads into the next part that Willie Frazier, Brother Willie, you brought up. And I think, Brother Willie, just thinking about this, because I saw your comment over the break. So I had to think about, okay, I can see it being broken down in a very simple way. I think simply the way you put it is a good attempt to kind of like summarize where our school of thought. You said to break down our thoughts, political thoughts, it comes in 2 to 3 camps. Those that want freedom by common humanity, okay? The second camp is those who want freedom through their masters, right? That's talking about us and who continue to put faith into the system. More importantly, we put faith into those who formerly oppressed us to get us out of the condition that we're in. And then you said those that don't care either way and just trying to survive. So you got three schools of thought, I think, Willie. Those that want freedom by common humanity, those who want freedom through their masters, and those who don't care either way and just trying to survive. Whew. I'm gonna just put that out there, and I'm gonna let the crew marinate on that one too, Brother Willie. But thank you for posting that. You don't like my music? You said I would rather dismantle state power than seize it, but I realize how the world works. Relax Library, thank you for checking in. You said we need representation without the gerrymandering and corporate money for true representation. Okay. All right. It looks like there's some movement here. Looks like there's some latest development from this situation. Take a listen, folks.
Yay. Watson Coleman. Yay. Weber of Texas. Nay. Webster of Florida. Nay. Winstrup. Nay. Westerman. Nay. Wexton. Yay. Wild. Yay. Williams of Georgia. Yay. Williams of New York. Nay. Williams of Texas. Nay. Wilson of Florida. Yay. Wilson of South Carolina. Nay. Whitman. Nay. Womack.
No.
Nay. Yackham. Nay. Zinke. Nay. McCarthy. Nay.
Carter of Texas. I have Tony Gonzalez. I have Gooden of Texas. I have Luna. I have Bob Martin. I have Miller. I have Alexi. I have Paula. And then I have okay, so
Ready to move?
now I've got to go through these.
House will be in order. The clerk will now call the names of members that have not already been recorded alphabetically.
Banks. Nay. Bush. Bush.
Okay, Kamak's next.
Kamek. Nay.
Okay, I've got Carter of Texas next.
Carter of Texas. Carter of Texas.
So then we're going to go to Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez. Nay. Gooden of Texas. Gooden of Texas. Luna. Luna. Mills. Nay. Pelosi. Pelosi. Peltola. Peltola. Sykes. Sykes.
Are there other members? Are there other members in this body who have not been recorded or who wish to change their vote? You got the tally? On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Damn.
House will come to order. The
Wow.
chair lays before the House a communication.
Wow. Folks, you just heard that historic vote. Breaking news. Kevin McCarthy has been ousted from his seat as House Speaker, vacating the seat. And this was, wow. This is history in the making, folks. Man, oh man. I think some of you are just in a kind of a state of shock as I am. Wow, this has never been this has never happened in history. And I just want to, man, this has never happened. This has never happened. Now, that means the seat is going to be vacated, and we're going to see a situation where these that it opens the door for Hakeem Jeffries to possibly come in. Yeah. All right. So let me just check in with y'all because this is all real time. So, woo, this is something. This is really, really something. Pretty Brown Mimi, 726 Mimi. I ain't hear from you all day, but you said this is so crazy. Facts. This is crazy. Tiana, damn. That's what I said too. Y'all might have heard that part. It's like, whoo. Willie Frazier, my brother, you said holy. Yep. Robin Welch, wow. A Wilder Channel, you checked in. Good to connect with you, A Wilder Channel. You said, what's going on in my Marvin Gaye voice? Frankie, you said he was sent to do a job. Bye-bye. Conscious Thought, you said they did it. Yep. Mimi, you said Matt Gaetz, the petulant child, did it. Wow. Bring on Hakeem Jeffries. The real Tasha Berry, you checked in and said, okay, so what happened? That means he's no longer Speaker of the House, Tasha, that now it's open to someone else to get the seat. The minority leader is the black man from New York, Hakeem Jeffries. He can get the seat. Or the Republicans, and again, remember I just said this a few moments ago, for Matt Gaetz, he kicked off the motion. He's the one that's responsible for this. So now his political capital is going to go through the roof. So the question now, like Sean, you brought it up, who's going to replace him? We're going to have to see. Republican, you said I didn't see that coming. Me neither. Stephanie Carradine, you checked in and said nuts. Absolutely. This is all happening, folks. Robin Welch, you said crazy. Absolutely. Janelle, you checked in. I think actual governing and policy making, including full review of current systems and how any changes are working or not working, has to be a full-time job. This nonsense is not governing. Vela, Kent, Esiso, you said, wow, this is historic. The seat is vacant. Yes, it is. And to your point, Janelle, you're absolutely right. You don't like my music. You said, I wonder which nutcase they can convince into filling that spot. Damon, brother Damon, Blissett, you said, shaking my head with the hand over the face emoji. Karen Connor, excuse me. You said, Sister Karen, you said, the world is laughing at the USA. This is very embarrassing. Claudio, Beach Ball, you checked in and said, which extremists will the GOP choose? Come on. Come on. Kinlock K-Town, thank you, Claudio. Kinlock K-Town, that ain't going to happen. Hakeem won't get re-thug support. McCall, you checked in. McCall Lewis, you said we should all see this in action and act accordingly. If they aren't doing the job and you had to beg for it, maybe someone else should have had it. Should have it, excuse me. P. Jackson, you checked in and said, I don't think everyone was present for the vote. They weren't. Some people, I think we just had a couple of people. I don't think everybody was present, but some folks abstained from the vote as well, P. Jackson. Damon, you went back and said it took only one vote this time. Laughing emoji. Sean Ryan, you said I don't even know why they got rid of him. He didn't follow. He made, as people will say now, the streets are talking. He made plans with the devil, and couldn't. He made those deals with the devil, and they got rid of him. Corinna, you said, "Oh shit." Corinna just said, "Oh." Cindy D, you say chaos and disruption, just what they wanted. Republican, you said McCarthy couldn't take the heat. Relax Library, you checked in and said, so Congress is beholden to the fascist wing of the House. Woo. That MAGA, the MAGA Republicans. Glenda Davis, you said America is in disarray. Activists for America, you said not America. The conservative Trumplican clown caucus is in disarray, and it's just a normal Tuesday. FAA, you checked in and said, look at the MAGA rats. And Janae, you said this is the year of ousting elected officials from the inside out. Whoa. Shit. So does that mean black folks gonna start doing that too, Janae? Are we gonna start ousting our candidates, our representatives, if they don't speak to our agenda? Because we can start to do something. Look, man, look, this thing is wild. Look at this. We didn't even talk about the other part of this GOP implosion, which is Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about the GOP implosion of what we saw on that debate stage the other night. We didn't talk about that. This is serious stuff, man. Serious stuff. And we got to be able to act accordingly, as y'all been saying. To act accordingly. Like, how did we respond to this? How should people respond to this? Now y'all making jokes about the man's future. David, you said McCarthy said to bring it and they brought the chair. Look, man, look, look. It may be a win for some, but it's still a huge loss for American democracy. Because this thing is changing quickly. This thing is changing quickly. This thing is changing quickly. Corinna, you said Dems don't have the votes for Hakeem to be speaker right now, but we can change that in 2024. 2024 sounds like eons away, right, Corinna? I mean, look at just what happened. Look at the history. Hey, look, let's change this breaking news if we can, team. Let's change this to let them know that McCarthy has been ousted. I want folks to make sure that they see that. Thank you. That Kevin McCarthy has been ousted from his seat as House Speaker, and getting your real-time reactions to this situation. Conscious thought in response to our sister Karen Connor, when she's posted, the world is laughing at the USA, this is very embarrassing. You said, yep. Damon, you said, Dr. Carr said, let it fall. I agree. Here's the thing. If this thing is falling, where does Black America find shelter? Because we're so wrapped up into it. We are one and the same with the system because we've been the product of the system. We've been the victims of the system, and we are slowly trying to crawl our way from under the system, but we're still a part of the system. This is a heavy time for the country, folks. And it's such a heavy time that we got to use the best of intelligence on how we move forward. We got to use the best of intelligence at this point. We got to use the best of intelligence. Well, Robin, you said Black America is covered. Trust me on that. Trust me on that one. Well, I mean, depending on your view of what covered means and what that looks like. But if we're trying to tell people to, and I'm saying covered in the sense of shelter from, if the system, if the GOP can do this to their own member, and this is on a federal level, and now those who align themselves with Trump ideology and politics, and those who align themselves to that extreme or to that ideology, imagine on the state level where Black folks live, work, state level where Black folks have life. What does that mean? So does that mean that in state houses across the country, in Republican-controlled, Republican-governed states, those individuals who have this same type of ideology as Matt Gaetz, political ideology, might find it to feel empowered and emboldened? See, that federal demonstration we just saw is going to penetrate and spill over into the states. But look at how fast stuff is happening, folks. You know what I'm saying? Look at how fast this is happening. Black America, man, this thing is becoming a train. You know what I'm saying? Corinna, you said it's all about power. That's absolutely right. It is all about power right now. Ray, you checked in and said non-voters and Republican voters are the reason for this mess. Look at this. This is going to even create a bigger divide in the country now. And imagine now, look, the fracture. Because Matt Gaetz got power now. He's the one that led this. And he just took down. He just created history. He got power now. A Trump ally getting some power. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Like, let's connect the dots on this. This is this guy, him. He's got power now. He led the charge on taking down one of his own because he didn't align himself. He made deals, and I'm speaking of McCarthy. He made deals with individuals, and he didn't follow through. He played traditional politics. Matt Gaetz was playing warfare politics. So imagine if Matt Gaetz in the state of Florida, Corinna, to your states, and that many of you, Mimi, I know you from Florida as well. What's going to happen to Black folks in the state of Florida? What's going to happen to Black folks in Georgia, in Texas, right? So now we're at this point, and this only further divides the American people. When you have a faction of the party that has come into power politically, ideologically, and then they move the way they just moved today. Lord. Tom Butler, you said that's why voting matters, because people don't think it does. This is a prime example. It's a prime example, all right. I mean, voting matters, but we better be prepared as well. Trey Williams, you said, I don't feel like Dems are affected by this. They'll get the House back next year. Let me tell you something. One of the great things, the lessons that I've learned in reading The Art of War. Trey, you may have, I don't know if you read that book by Sun Tzu. Never underestimate your enemy. Never underestimate the opposition. We are not dealing with the same rules that applied to politics years ago. This is a new set of rules that are being written today, as we saw, right? Did you ever think that this would happen today? We didn't think that. I thought this was going to be some more, political grandstanding. No, this actually happened. They actually made history. They got rid of that guy. So I'm not putting nothing past those who oppose our rise. I'm not putting nothing past them. I'm keeping all eyes open, keep my head on the swivel, as they say, right? I'm not putting nothing past them. I'm not underestimating who we up against. And you shouldn't either. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to underestimate these people because they're not playing by the same rules. Like I said, some playing by traditional political rules. Matt Gaetz and the folks that are with him are playing by warfare political rules. It's about power. It's about power. It's about power. All right. I know we had guests. We had to talk about this. I got to stop the show and I got to, we got to make sure, because right after us, of course, Rolling Martin Unfiltered. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that after this historic day on Capitol Hill in Congress, where Kevin McCarthy has been ousted as House Speaker. That's the big news coming out of that. I think some of us may have knew that this was coming, but this is a very first and historic moment for American politics and for where we are in our political discourse. Farajii, Real Brooklyn, you said, Farajii, politicians live by the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's the only way you can stay in politics for the length of time these guys have been serving. Yeah, absolutely. Ray, you said Republican policy ain't the way. I hear you. Brother. Soy La Bonita, you said, I was telling my friends today that I'm going to start going into my community and teaching civics as well as law and policy. Gates showed us the power of voting. Well, I'm more concerned and I'm more happier to hear that you talking about going into the community and teaching civics as well as law and policy. That's the part. Yeah, he shows the power of voting, but your action showed the power of you becoming an inspired and conscious and active citizen in your government. That's more inspiring than just saying you're going, he showed us the power of voting. You're right, he did. But it is your involvement that shows the power of what you believe. So I thank you for that. Trey, you said, I agree, but this is just fuel for Democrats to use in campaigns next year, not even this look at the foolishness they have with Santos, Boebert barely hanging on, and the civil war within their own party. Yeah, I understand your point, Trey. I definitely understand that point. I understand that point. Sharon Brooks, you said, I love the boomerang effect. When you throw that rock in it, bounce back and hit you. Yes, I'm here for the 2-for-1 while I drink water and mind my business. Yeah, we got some real thinking to do. Now, look again, folks, as we wrap up the show. Hakeem Jeffries, we may want him in there, but can he be prepared for this? Who's going to protect Brother Hakeem? Who's going to protect? He's not coming up and declaring, Corinna, you talked about this thing. He don't have enough votes right now, but somebody's got to be in the House speaker position. Are we prepared for that? You see what I'm saying? Warfare politics, man. Warfare politics is the thing. This ain't no joke. They playing for keeps, y'all. They are playing for keeps. They are playing for keeps. So we will have to see. We will see. Tiger Shark Studio, please. Don't even bring it up, that joker. How about George Santos for speaker, please? I'm surprised he remembers his own name as much line he does. Please. Look, we gotta jump off, folks. But I am more than happy with us being able to take in this moment to have these conversations. We did not know what was going to happen, how this thing was going to play out. But more so than just the vote in the moment, we're going to have to think about over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, the implications of what just happened here in the implications of what just happened in Washington and how it affects everybody, and start connecting the dots. I would highly, highly encourage all of us to start connecting the dots, because guess what, folks? You may feel like, oh, that's beyond me, that's over there, I'm over here. But this is warfare politics. Let's get out of our minds that things are going to be the same. This is warfare politics. The rules are changing, the game is changing, and the players are more vicious now than ever before. We got to be prepared. We got to make sure we organize and strategize. We got to make sure that we do get out to vote, but also have a plan if our representatives are not voted in. We got to have a plan if people are getting into office by any means necessary. How do we respond to that? And these are big conversations. We're not going to figure that out over today or within a 2-hour period on a show or anything like that. But it's something for us to think about, especially those of us who are in political spaces across this country. We got to figure this thing out. We got to figure this thing out. Because after what we just saw, that guerrilla tactics, warfare politics taking place the way we saw it, whoo, something else has to be considered. All right, folks, I gotta jump off. But I thank each and every one of you. Big shout out to the online culture crew, man. Y'all are just absolutely phenomenal. I cannot thank y'all enough for joining me for this historic moment today. More importantly, joining us, continuing to show your support for the work that we're doing, this powering this movement. Big shout out to the Orange Pill Nurse. And Orange Pill Nurse, she said Matt Gaetz was playing with house money and rolled big. Yeah, he did. He rolled big and he won big time. Matt Gaetz is going to be that guy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting. But the Orange Pill Nurse, thank you so much for your support of Black Star Network. Folks, continue to show your support. You can go our website today at blackstarnetwork.com, download the app for free, follow us on social media. But your financial support means a world of difference to us, because it is your support that powers this movement. Yes, we have major distributors. Yes, we are on social media spaces. Yes, all of those things are true. But guess what? Your support. This is a Black-owned, Black-operated media company. So we need a media network, and it's a media space, and we need your support. We want you, the people, to be the stakeholders. We don't want it to come from corporate America, but we want you to be the stakeholders. That way we are unapologetic, we are unfiltered in our analysis and with our view, and making sure that we tell the stories the way we need to tell the story. So again, your support is everything here for Black Star Network. Big shout out to my online culture crew. Y'all phenomenal. I can't say it enough. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this historic moment and being a part of this whole discussion. Big shout out to my production team, Joe, Shannon, Keenan, King Keenan, Lise, my man Chris and Maddie. Thank you. They did a fantastic, phenomenal job in making sure they keep us up to date on all of this and making this production happen. Stay tuned. Up next is Roland Martin and Phil to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we will be back tomorrow. And I'm sure my sister Suzette Speaks is going to have a lot to say about this, but we're going to be checking in with her tomorrow, God willing, for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, only here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network. Talk to you soon. Peace.